What's going on, everybody? Capital Hungry here, and today we're going to be talking about a big bad Brics. The allegiance, the alliance of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and Saudi Arabia. Before I get into it, understand that I know that I have no support for Brics, and I have no support for the US empire. I'm completely neutral. I'm completely talking from an objective standpoint, looking at it from a bird's eye view. Also, none of these videos I do are scripted. I feel it's a lot more genuine with the speech mistakes I may make and just going off the top of my head with the knowledge and research that I've done, not necessarily following a script. First things first, Brics is not anything new. Brics has been around for longer than a decade, and even before Brics, I've been seeing through my research news articles from the 1970s and 1980s of the US dollar being dethroned. We have to look at a few things when we're looking at the US dollar and we're looking at Brics and what their objective is, or what they're saying in media anyways. Because from my research, ever since Brics was formed more than a decade ago, we haven't seen much progression of them bringing some new fantastic currency system to the table, or really having any progress of taking over the US dollar from its world reserve currency position. When we first look at the US dollar, the first argument a lot of people make is that China, Russia, and India are going to come together, Saudi Arabia, they're going to come together, and they're going to form a new currency backed by gold, and it's going to completely throw out the US dollar because the US dollar isn't backed by anything. That is false and can't be further from the truth. The US dollar is an empire backed by the largest economy and the largest consuming economy, and also backed by the most volatile and vicious military that I've personally ever witnessed through my lifetime. Who's more eager and excited to go to war than the US? Especially during times of economic pressure, or especially during times where their position of power is being threatened. The US is the first to put their guns together and start to form propaganda and form a story of why they should go to war against a certain country and completely raid, take over, and destroy it. So one, the US economy is the largest in the world, and for the countries such as China and India, one of China and India's largest customer, if not largest customer, is the US, especially for general goods, tech, pharmaceuticals, and so forth. So getting rid of your largest customer is not really a good business move. Some other key points that we have to understand is that our global financial markets are extremely intricate and very in-depth, right? And the US dollar is essentially at the center of this global financial system. 90% plus or 85% plus of modern global transactions are still in the US dollar. Majority of global debt obligations owed to important entities are still owed in US dollars. Majority of global commodity sales and oil and so forth is still in US dollars. US dollar still holds a position in terms of global risk when you have a lot of global crisis or economic downside. It still holds a position as a safe haven. The US is the largest customer to some of these countries and what they export, such as China, India, and Russia. The US is a detrimental part of the global economy and global financial system. And I'm not saying empires don't fall, but a lot of people seem to have this misconception that Brics is going to take over, that the US dollar is going to get abolished, that the US is going to lose their power position, and it's all going to be a very smooth sailing transition. The amount of damage of the US dollar being dethroned and of the US economy crashing, or of course the military conflict that can be caused by trying to push the US out of its power position, is going to be unfathomable. It's going to be a situation that not any of us would really be prospering from. It's going to be bringing a lot of dark times, and any changing of empire, that transition period that can last a generation, is not going to be good, happy, gung-ho, cheering times for us. It's going to be very dark economic times, where you're going to have a lot of uncertainty, you're going to have a lot of poverty, you're going to have people suffering, people dying through this process, right? And let's just say some of these countries like Russia, China, and India do decide to band together and create a crazy alliance to overthrow the US. None of these countries are looking to share power equally. China has its own plans of becoming the leader of becoming the global powerhouse and becoming the sole leader of the world. India has its own plans for that. Russia has its own plans for that. So these countries just cooperating together and working all nice and gung-ho and taking over the US and splitting power like it's not really the fairy tale picture that everybody's dreaming for it to be, or a lot of these conspiracy theorists are bringing up. Now, Brics is just getting a lot of attention because you can attach a lot of propaganda to it, you can get a lot of media attention from it, you can get a lot of clicks from it. But keep in mind that in the cold, hard reality, US dollar is holding this empire position for a reason. You have years and years of financial infrastructure rooted from the US dollar, all of those transactions still in US dollars, majority of debt obligations in US dollars, and this isn't going to be changing anytime soon, with the US ready to throw their military at anything within a whim. And especially if it does lead to more physical conflict and geopolitical tensions, it's gonna be chaos and mayhem for the entire globe. We're talking about world war situations, potentially sparking into nuclear fears, or very, very hard Cold Wars. So in my opinion, do I see the US empire eventually falling and the dollar being dethroned? Sure, but I think that's still generations in the future. Do I see anything taking over the US dollar's position in the near term, even in the next 5 years? No. If I do see anything taking over the US dollar's position and destroying the US economy and taking over that power role, do I think it's going to be a smooth sailing, easy to adjust transition? Of course not. It's going to be very dark global economic time periods, and especially for just regular day-to-day citizens such as you and myself. So please, besides just reading headlines and articles about a new currency coming out without any proof, or about all these projects that Brics promises without actually following through on them, do your own research of how interconnected the US dollar is to financial markets, of why US holds this power position, of how strong their military is, of how many global transactions are still in US dollars, US debt obligations, and so forth. I'll see you all next time. Just a short, quick little video of my opinion, my research, and what I think about all this Brics propaganda, Brics news, and all these conspiracy theories.